You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
What is up, folks? Welcome to another episode of the podcast, and this is not just any regular old episode, although they are all very special in their own way. This one is especially special. How many more times can I say special on this intro? Let's see. It's a very special episode for me because today I'm talking to Jeff Smith and Sean Leary from Jeromes Dream. Let me explain for a minute why this is near and dear to my heart. A lot of listeners that have been with me for a long time know that I am a Warped Tour kid. I grew up with the emo, screamo, post-hardcore, metalcore, new metal, like all that stuff, the crust punk, all of the things that were a part of that scene were highly influential on me. And they're the whole reason why I'm talking to you right now was that, mid-2000s kind of scene in alternative music. And it is quite possible that very little of that music would have existed, or it certainly wouldn't have existed in the same way if it weren't for Jeromes Dream. They were a highly, highly influential band, and they didn't last all that long. I believe they ran originally from 1997 to 2001, and I found them way after that fact. I want to say something around 2012 or 2014, somewhere in that ballpark. And I was totally blown away by what I was hearing. I could totally hear how their impact had bled through to a lot of the bands I'd been listening to, like Poison the Well. And whether these bands were aware of it or not, Jeromes Dream 100% influenced a lot of my favorite heavy bands from that time. So fast forwarding to 2018, the band got back together, started writing new music, and here we are talking about that stuff today. So I am extremely excited. If you've never heard Jeromes Dream and you like anything from that Warped Tour era, especially leaning towards the heavy side, then you need to go back and check out Jeromes Dream and check out their new stuff. I'm so excited to be talking to these guys. I had an excellent conversation with them. We talk about how all that happened. We talk about pedal boards. We talk about all kinds of stuff. And of course, we talk about pizza. So I am so pumped to give you this episode. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And again, if you like that kind of music, you absolutely must check out Jeromes Dream, and you must check out the new stuff that's coming out. Seriously, so excited. Here we go. Here's an episode that I never thought I'd get to do with Jeromes Dream. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast, the show about guitar stuff occasionally, sometimes. I'm your host, Blake Weiland, and with me today, I have Sean and Jeff from Jeromes Dream. What's going on, fellas?
Not much. How are you? Thanks for having us.
Yeah, what's happening?
I've been trying to figure it out since NAMM. I've been a whirlwind of chaos since I got home from NAMM a couple weeks ago. I don't even know what real life is anymore.
Sure.
Did you see some cool, inspiring gear and some stuff you're going to spend money on?
I mostly saw our booth. That's pretty much what I saw.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, that's better. That's better. Save some money.
I saw an old dude who insisted that we made. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of jumping into this. I'm a partner in Stringjoy Guitar Strings, and this old guy insisted that we made phosphor bronze acoustic 6-string bass strings, and he wanted to know why we stopped. And we were very insistent that we have never made those, because we have never made those. And he was very insistent that we had. And he
Wow.
proceeded to tell the founder, my partner Scott, how we had definitely made those and he didn't know what we were talking about. So that was an interesting experience. But
I don't know why you're not making them, man. There's got to be a giant market for that.
Once we were able to convince him that we indeed did not make those, that's exactly what he said. Well, you're missing out on a giant market. You really need to.
You know what? I actually have a set here, so he's right.
He was right the whole time.
Hold him up.
Well, I've listened to your guys' band enough to realize that that's like a core component of your sound is the 6-string acoustic bass.
It is.
Right?
It's got a nice growl to it.
Uh-huh.
Little known fact.
A little known fact. So we're here spilling the gear secrets out here. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yes. I guess well, the secret's out now.
Well, this is a little bit of a trippy episode for me because I found your band, I want to say, I'm not sure exactly what the time frame was, but it was well after you had originally paused. And what I thought to myself was, wow, I really missed out. And, because there were other bands, a lot of bands like that I would say kind of fall into a somewhat similar category that I'd found after the fact. But I'd found Botch and some other things that I feel like you guys are sort of part of. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, I don't feel like there was a lot in the style that you guys do at the time you were doing it. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah. There wasn't.
Yeah.
There were like pockets here and there, but there was no, like, the internet was not what it is now.
Right.
It was very, everything was kind of new, and, people, like, there were chat rooms here and there and news groups, but it wasn't like, there was no social media really. Chat rooms were the social media. And so, you'd find people in different places and, just very DIY, like, oh, we're doing a show here, I'm sure that kind of thing is still happening, but, we started in Connecticut, and there was nothing like this in Connecticut. Like, Connecticut was more of the Hatebreed type of sound, or crust punk. And so when we started, we didn't really know what we were doing. There were, like, the influences that we had didn't sound like what we were doing. And, it was just, we sort of found things as we went. There were just little pockets here and there. And, like Orchid or Page 99 or Seisha, they were around, Reversal of Man. But they were, we had to travel to get to them. So, but there wasn't much going on. So, yeah.
Were you at all surprised, because I know that's it, coming up with anything new, especially in a, small scene like existed back then, is a bit of a difficult thing to say the least. But were you surprised to come back later and find the fan base that now exists? Was that shocking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned this recently, and I'm glad Sean's here. I can embarrass him a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I didn't know any of these bands. Like, when we took our very, very long, very, very long break, I didn't pay attention to what was going on at all. And when we came back, we all started trying to do homework and figure out who was still doing this kind of music. I didn't even know who Touche Amore were when we got back together. Yeah, right. And so Sean also plays in Loma Prieta, and I found out that they were a band still, because I met Val, the drummer, back in like 2005, I want to say, and he was like, he found out I was in Jeromes Dream. We just met through some like a social circle, and he's like, "You were in Jeromes Dream? Whoa!" And he's like, "I'm trying to start a band." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I didn't really think anything of it. And then he's like, "Yeah, we're called Loma Prieta." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Just kind of, I wasn't dismissive, but I didn't really think much of it. And then come 2018 or 2019, and I find out Loma Prieta is still a band, and I'm like, what the and so I went and did some homework, and and then met Sean. So he's not even smiling. He just wants to hit me.
I'm tuning you out, dude.
It's like, shut up.
Stop talking.
Yeah.
Stop it.
But yeah, so like I didn't know about any of this stuff, So over the last few years I've been, doing my homework, and I'm just really happy to know that this stuff sort of carried on. And I think, Sean, you can talk a little bit more about the interim and like what was going on if you wanted to.
Well, I don't know what was, I don't have much intel on what was going on with Jeromes Dream until 3 years ago when I started playing with Jeromes Dream. Sure. But yeah, I don't know. What's the question?
The world.
Well, I actually, I think maybe this is where we should go with this, because I want to know this too. Obviously, there's a big break. How long was it? When did you guys stop?
2001. Okay. Yeah. So like August, like right before 9/11.
Yeah. Oh, wow. You guys shouldn't have stopped. Maybe that would have prevented all this chaos,
I think it would have. Yeah. We've considered changing our name to Wild Stallions.
Well, there's a market for that. Let's just put it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a deep cut reference right there.
It is. But Sean, from your perspective, so Loma Prieta obviously drew some inspiration there, I would assume.
Sure. Yeah. We all love Jeromes Dream. Yeah.
Yeah. And so from your perspective, how did this unfold to the point that now you're a member of the band?
Oh, well, basically it was like I kind of out of the blue got an email, I guess maybe in 2018 or something. And it was from Eric. Well, this email claimed to be from Eric from Jeromes Dream and asked if Loma Prieta would want to play some shows with Jeromes Dream. And I thought that someone was with me. Like I thought I was being pranked, Mm-hmm. I was like, this is cruel. Like, why would someone?
Come on,
yeah. I'm like, dude, why are you gonna?
Don't make us play with them.
Why are you gonna play with my emotions like that?
Fair, yeah.
But yeah, so it was funny. I just had this email from Eric, and he was like, "You want to jump on the phone and talk?" He's kind of like, and then we had a conversation, and just sort of immediately, I was like, "Man, I like this dude. He's a cool guy," and he was totally like, saying kind of what Jeff's saying. He's like, Jeromes Dream stopped playing, at that point, 18 years before or something, and that they'd, not been paying close attention to what was going on, like in hardcore for the most part in that time. And he was kind of like, yeah, somehow I came across your band, and I just really think like we, fit well together. Like, do you want to play like a show or some shows or something? And of course, we were all like completely down for it. So we ended up booking like a 2-week tour together on the East Coast, which I think were JD's first shows back, right, Jeff?
Yeah. Yep.
And then because, Jeff and I both were living in San Francisco, so we like hung out a few times before the tour. And I was kind of like, with both Eric and Jeff, I was like, man, I just feel immediately like I'm just like buds with these guys. It's super cool. It's great to meet people who, I think we're all, I think we all think very similarly about music and everything else, and are kind of the same age and doing the same things. So anyway, that was kind of how we met. And, kept on from there. And then it just ended up that they needed, initially, I guess in 2020, you guys hit me up to see if I would play guitar on a tour. So we practiced a little bit and kind of got a set together. And then right when we were kind of getting ready to leave for that tour, it was March of 2020 and COVID happened, and that tour definitely didn't happen. but, and then kind of in the year kind of following, it was like Eric moved up from LA. We all hung out when we could and kind of were in like a little COVID bubble, and then just started, I don't think with any intention of writing Jeromes Dream songs. We just started playing music together because we all play music, and started writing songs. And I think we were like, well, what is it? Is this a new band? Like, what do we call this? And then it was like so clear that the songs, I was like, well, if we call it something else, it's just Jeromes Dream songs, called Wild Stallions, you know? So like, I guess, what do we do? It was sort of like this dilemma. We're like, well, man, sure sounds like Jerome's Dream, you know, which I think it's an interesting thing because I had never, I don't think that I'd ever realized in having listened to Jerome's Dream a ton and, you know, in the 20 years preceding that or whatever, that, a huge part of the sound is the rhythm section. You know, it's like the way that Eric and Jeff play. I kind of am like, I could have done I could be playing ska parts over that and it would still sound like Jerome's Dream. I don't know. There's sort of no.
Let's not go too far. Let's not go too far.
Let's try that.
Yeah,
we got to try that.
That's how we innovate. That's how we
pick it up.
Yeah.
Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's see if you can do the dance while playing the guitar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
If you guys need a dancer like Boss Tones, I'll just come do that.
This could work. It worked for them, you know?
It worked for them.
Yeah.
Why can't we see that more happen? And I don't know.
That dude is smooth. I saw the Boss Tones probably like 15 times back in the day.
Oh, man.
It was so good.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
I love the Boss Tones. I love them.
They're so good. I still put them on for my son. He likes them a lot.
I was genuinely, when they announced that they were kind of done, not kind of done, they were done. I was like, this is making me way more sad than I ever expected that it would. Like, it really hit me in the feels. Like, I didn't know I was going to be this upset about the Boss Tones stopping existing.
Right.
I'd like living in a world
think about
where
them
they
until
were
they're gone. Right.
I know. It's come on, Dickie, get the band back together.
For real.
Yeah. So,
but the real story is we actually just kidnapped Sean, and he's living in my basement right now.
He has that look on his face. Yeah, now that you mention it. Huh.
This is a really nice basement, though. It's got, it's
well
as
lit.
You can see, beautiful paint job, nice fan.
I see the moldings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got a nice medallion above where the fan's mounted. That's classy basement, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, this kidnapping is really, it's been done to the highest level.
That's why you're so happy about it.
Straight up, yeah.
Yeah. This is not Stockholm syndrome. It's genuinely just a luxury experience.
Okay. Hold on a second.
Oh, no worries.
Podcast right now.
Oh man, I know this life.
Can you just? Are they at the garage?
Yeah, they're at the garage. I'm not going to.
Can you just drag them in, please? All right. Well, yeah. Then just leave them out there. I'll get them later. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I just got a big package of record mailers. So.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, sorry guys. Sorry everybody. Yeah. Interruption.
Got to leave that in. That's part of that's part of the real experience. This is where the tone comes from.
This is how you know it's legit. That's how you know this is real.
Every single day. Every single day.
I have a sign that I flip out here on the shred shed where it says recording, and my youngest son cannot read, so he does not know that it says recording, but he knows if it's red, if it's on the red side, we don't go in. That means Dad's recording. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Sorry, I apologize, everybody. Blake,
you're good. Don't worry. I was going to ask you a question. What was? Oh yeah, Jeff. I'm sure you've been asked this before on interviews, and we've referred to the long break, right? Was it intended to be a long break? Did you guys ever think you would come back, or was that more intended to be we're kind of done with this chapter of our lives, and then it became undeniable that the world needed more?
Thanks. Yeah, I think it does, but I don't know. I mean, early on, it was done, and I didn't talk to Eric for a long time. I didn't talk to Nick. Like we just went out and did our own things, and it was sad. It was hard, and but then I don't know, 7-8 years later, Eric gets in touch. He was the catalyst for it taking its original break, and he apologized. He's like, "I'm sorry, I was an asshole," And I was like, "It's cool, man." But in all that time, I had thought, man, we weren't done. There was so much more. I felt like we were just getting into second gear, And so I always felt like pretty sad about it, and had a hope that it would happen again, but but never an expectation, I guess. And but then when Eric and I started talking again, we would see each other here and there, and I was always like, well, now there's a little bit of hope, and I would just like chip away very patiently at him. And, I'm like, why don't you write a song? Or, do you ever think about doing this stuff again? He's like, maybe here and there. And, but then I don't know what happened to drive him back into it. But in 2018, he was just like, we got on the phone with Nick and the original guitar player. And, he was like, as impulsively as we ended, he's like, all right, let's get back together. And I was like, I've been waiting, let's go. And so initially it was just dead, but then I always sort of held out the hope that I could convince him to do it again. And so we did.
Nice. Were you doing anything musical during the downtime, or did you just separate it entirely? Were you even playing for yourself?
No. Well, I did another band called the Wind Up Bird, and I started doing that towards the end of the first run of JD, and I did that with my friend Joe. We were just two. It was just two of us doing completely different music, and then I moved to California, like right after JD split, and well, I guess maybe about a year after. And so Joe and I did that. We toured a little bit, put out a couple records, and then I moved to California. And then we did a little bit more together. I flew back and forth a couple times, and then it just became too much. And he started doing it on his own. And I didn't really do much beyond that. I made some tracks on my own. More in the vein of the Wind Up Bird, but with my own sort of up ideas about things. The Wind Up Bird was it was kind of pretty, right? And I just did straight noise with some pretty parts thrown in. And but I played maybe 2 or 3 shows in that time, and I got together with another friend who played guitar, tried to play with him, and I was just like, nah, it's not the thing. And so yeah, I didn't really do much. I just hit pause and saved all the good stuff for coming back.
Probably for the best.
Yeah.
Does it feel a bit surreal now that it's actually happening for real? You actually are going out. I know COVID really probably let the air out of the balloon in a major way. Like it
COVID,
did even more probably for you guys than your average band, I would imagine. Because everyone else is kind of in the groove. They've been doing it for a while, and now this was like a big comeback, like a huge comeback, and things that people were really excited about. I remember being very excited about it, and then was it hard to recover from that mentally? Like now you're actually doing it for real?
Yeah. I mean, well, I don't know. When COVID hit, I was like, all right, this is going to be for like a week, 2 weeks, maybe.
Sure.
2 weeks? We all
2 weeks.
Especially, especially the parents, we're like, this has to stop in 2 weeks. We have to go, we have to send our kids back to school and like be, away from each other for a little bit. And, so I was just like, all right, well, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back to it. Sean mentioned earlier, we were supposed to go to Europe. We're going to go to play Roadburn and do some dates in Russia and Eastern Europe. And, I was really bummed that all stopped. But, as COVID started to drag on, I was like, this is long. This is going to be long. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, the air just went out. yeah, it's like a balloon that's been sitting in your living room for like 3 days, right? It's just like lopsided and doesn't float anymore. And yeah. So I don't know. What was the original question? It was just hard. Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
But I don't want to, like, every band, is doing their thing, and it sucks, because we're all just trying to create stuff and do good stuff, and I don't think anybody's experience is any worse than anybody else's. It's
yeah, that's fair.
It just sucks. It sucks for us all. We all just want to make music and share it with people and be around each other. It's fun to play with other bands and support the ecosystem that supports bands. The clubs and the record labels and the podcasts and all of it. It all just suffers when you can't do it. And
100%.
The kids that are trying to discover new music, right? I mean, maybe the one benefit was that a lot of bands were forced to just hole up and create, and if they were lucky enough to do that, and our band included, I think it took us a little bit longer to get back to it than some other bands, but it was a blessing in disguise, because we needed to get away from the other stuff. So let's get together and get in a room and write some cool stuff.
Absolutely.
If you have, Sean can say some stuff to that, I'm sure.
Hi, I'm Vincent, and I'm here to talk about the Maris Mercury X. My dad's always going on and on about how cool Maris is. He really went off on one about the Mercury X the other day. He said something about a 4,800 hertz sample rate and 99 preset locations and 33 banks, and something along the lines of the most advanced reverb pedal ever devised by man? That's all true, but I only care about one thing. This pedal sounds sick. So make sure you check out the Mercury X and all the other fine products at maris.us, as well as fine retailers worldwide. All right, Dad, now can I have my talkie?
How exactly do artists get their music on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, all these services? How in the world do you get your music there? Well, in the past, you had to use something called a record label. But these days, you can use DistroKid. DistroKid is the absolute easiest way to get your music up on streaming services, and it's the most affordable way to do so. Not only do plans start at $22.99 for the entire year, that's less than $2 a month, DistroKid also does not take a cut of your streaming revenue, unlike some other services out there. Even better if you sign up by going to tonemob.com/distrokid. That's tonemob.com/distrokid. One more time, that's tonemob.com/distrokid. You'll get 30% off. That's right, 30% off their already extremely reasonable prices. So go to tonemob.com/distrokid and get your music out there. Yeah, Sean, actually, I wanted to ask you something about, and since I don't want to get too down in the dumps since we are finally climbing out of that mud hole, fortunately.
Right.
But I did want to talk.
Yourself.
I'm trying, okay? I'm trying.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you specifically, Sean, though, because and this is more, with the viewpoint that Jeff took a big break from music. You seemingly didn't really. You were in Loma Prieta and you were doing the thing the whole time. So specifically, because this is in theory a show about gear,
Right.
has the recording process evolved for you, or are you kind of doing things? Did you get set into a certain process as far as, are you guys doing digital stuff now, or what's the actual rig look like when you guys are jamming and creating?
Yeah. Actually, it was kind of wild for me, because when the lockdown happened, I got totally obsessed with home recording and just writing material.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of went from up until that point, I was very anything open source will do as far as just making home recordings on my computer. You know, I'd grown up being a 4-track guy, and I've had several of them over the years, but I don't own one anymore. And so I was just multi-tracking in like Audacity forever. You know, I was like, it's free, and it will get it done. And, you know, like, I guess I put out a couple tapes and stuff that were recorded that way, but, you know, for demoing the band or writing stuff or whatever. But yeah, I ended up getting into Logic and just like going off the deep end to where I was like, same as Jeff was saying, I was kind of like, I bet that we have a month right now where like we're going to be stuck in the house, and then it's going to be over and I'm going to have to go back to my job and whatever else. So I kind of made it like I was doing like 12-hour, 16-hour days, just like sitting at my computer, like, and like going through old, you know, I'll take little like videos or voice memos when I come up with parts, and they'll oftentimes just get forgotten. But I was like going back through that stuff and then like fleshing out all these songs. And it was kind of wild because I felt like I had this limited time. Like I was like, I have 1 month. I've got to get all this stuff done. I'm making this my full-time job. Like I don't have anything else to do. There's no distractions. Like I'm stuck in this apartment, you know, like I was honestly like really afraid to leave the house, you know? So I was like in the middle of San Francisco and things just seemed dirty and chaotic. And, yeah, like, and then time of course ended up stretching on. And then I'm like, man, it's been 10 weeks of all I do is sit in front of the computer. Like, you know, I at the time had a pretty small apartment. My girlfriend was there just like listening to me, like just, you know, like make crazy noise tracks all day, every day. You know, she's just like, what are you doing in there? Trying to watch a movie.
Trying to watch Tiger King. Okay.
Exactly. That was the only break. The only break from recording was Tiger King. So anyway, weird time to look back on, but it was cool because I ended up, you know, a few of the songs from the new Loma Prieta record I wrote during that period of time. And because we have a record coming out at the end of June. And also, yeah, it was kind of like I had a bunch of demos that Loma Prieta had like started that I really tweaked, and it was a really good creative time because I thought the world was ending, and you know, there's nothing to light a fire under you than like, well, it's kind of cool too. Cause to me, it ended up proving, I think, that I was like, you know, I felt this urgency to make really great music or the best music I can or whatever, you know, like I was like completely obsessively doing this stuff and like recording up until I went to sleep at night and getting up first thing in the morning, you know, like thinking about the songs I've been working on the day before. And I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm working on these for anyone to hear them. Like maybe this virus thing is getting worse and worse and we're not going to make it out of this. Or maybe the world changes and there's no economy anymore and there's no way, you know, who knows if anyone's going to be like hearing this music, but I feel like very obsessed with, it's almost like as the confines of feeling like things are getting really bad made me feel like I really needed to make something good, probably to distract myself, but also because like, I think all of us, you know, we've all been like refining our skills to make the music we want to make. And so if, you know, given nothing but free time, I guess that's what we'd all do. Right. Yeah.
I think so.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, that was I don't remember what the question was, but I definitely just went on a tangent. So there that's where I'm gonna leave that. I'll set that there.
I like that. That's a fine place to set it. I think that's great. Yeah, it was certainly a bizarre time. I remember, you know, going back to talking about the strings a little bit. I have this very vivid memory, and I've told this on the show a few times. Of I have this space out here, and my thought was I'll be the guy that goes to the grocery store because if I get sick, I can at least come out here and be away from everybody and have stuff to do. Like I won't be totally, you know, out of my element. If my wife goes and she gets it, she's stuck in the house. That's just what it is. We're all just, you know, we're all just toast. So in those early days, I was like, I'll be the guy that goes and gets everything. And I remember because of that, I was out going to the grocery store very early and walking around the Safeway parking lot with like nobody in it in the middle of the day.
Right.
Literally looked apocalyptic. I remembered like driving around the city and just being like, what is this? This is wild. There is
Right, yeah.
nobody here.
Yeah.
And
No traffic.
no pedestrians, barely any birds. Like, it was weird.
Right.
But I remember talking to Scott, my business partner, and walking through that empty parking lot and just being like, because we weren't allowed to do anything. And so we were like, we got 6 months. And then everything we've been working for the last several years is just like flushed down the toilet. And, that was a bizarre feeling. It was a very, very bizarre feeling to have. And every time somebody starts talking about their lockdown memory, that one always sticks out to me for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Just like looking around at nobody and being like, wow, what is going on right now? Like, what is happening? But I think a lot of people were able to make the best of it. I mean, in retrospect, what else would you have done with your time?
Right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But to Jeff a little bit on this same like recording topic, was it jarring for you to be gone from music for so long and to come back into this new weird digital world that we live in?
No, because so I did the Wind Up Bird. I was talking about that earlier with my friend Joe. So Joe, he went to Yale. Jeromes Dream is originally from Connecticut, and so we made friends with a bunch of people that went to Yale, a bunch of the art students there, or art adjacent students who were just doing music or whatever. And he played in this band called Arcaro. He played in a bunch of bands. He's like Sean. He's just like 27 bands. And I'm probably lowballing that, but
it's actually 39. Get it right.
Yeah. Right. Sorry, I gotta keep a spreadsheet.
Me too.
So Joe was in this band, and he was recording the band in his house, and he had just an old Mac G4 that he got grant money to buy, and I remember just kind of watching and learning with him.
Okay.
And just learning as we go together. And it was really cool. He was using Pro Tools, and I was just sort of watching, and I got one of their early edition M boxes, and just I sort of learned how to do it on my own with him. So coming back, it didn't feel any different. Once I moved out to California, I got Logic. I went to college, and they had the Logic discount at the college bookstore. So I was like,
nice.
hell yeah, I'm going to get that. And that's how I was able to do like the noise stuff.
Got it.
I just so digital wasn't anything new to me at all.
Got it. Yeah, I wasn't sure what the timeline exactly was there, so that makes a lot more sense now.
Sure.
Yeah. So as far as the guitar gear side of it, though, Sean, are you a big pedal nerd? What's your rig look like these days?
I'm definitely not a big pedal nerd in the grand scheme of like people being big pedal nerds, but I do buy a lot of pedals. Yeah, I know.
I feel like that was aimed at somebody. Anyway.
No, it's like I feel self-conscious about it because I know there's so much out there, but I think I really did have like a 5-year period where I was buying stuff all the time with the intent that I would sell it if I didn't use it. And then now I just have a ton of pedals that I don't use. But but there was some point where I sort of crossed this threshold where, it was kind of funny, actually. I was doing all this sort of deep diving with pedals, and then I was buying all these, like kind of boutique pedals, and buying, I bought like several like Strymon pedals and things that I have no business owning because I also just have a really heavy foot and I break pedals. Like when I play live, I break strings and I break pedals, and I'm not even doing anything cool looking on stage, but like everything I do gets like, do it full force, I guess. and I'm just standing still, but I step on the pedal and it breaks.
Now,
So
if you have a heavy foot and you're breaking strings, there's another problem here. We got to really analyze and figure this out.
yeah, I guess I got heavy hands too. I do have heavy picks.
Virtuoso.
But so I kind of actually, it was funny. I was like doing this sort of research on pedals all the time and looking at what bands I liked, what they were playing. And I don't think anyone would really make this connection, but in Loma Prieta, myself and Brian, the other guitar player, kind of like landed on this thing like 10 years ago where like our musical tastes have been really divergent for years, but the band we can agree on for some reason is Interpol. We're both like, I grew up loving Interpol. Every time they put stuff out, it's still good to me, like I never, of course it's like the first couple LPs are the ones I always go back to, but and so like I don't think that my bands sound anything like them and couldn't if they wanted to, but then I started looking at like what they used and I was like, oh my God, dude, they play almost only Boss pedals. Like amazing. I had no idea. They only play like workhorse. There's nothing boutique that they're playing, or at least like live. That's what they use. And so that opened it up for me where I was like, I can't think of a band who tonally I would, like I just like the way that they sound, particularly in the, obviously like they're not as dirty as when I want to go crazy ass and dirty, but
sure, yeah.
Their clean tones are awesome. And I just think they're pretty tasteful in their tones and stuff. So it opened me up. And then basically like now I look at my board and I'm like, man, it's a lot of Boss, there's just a lot of Boss stuff, but you know what? You can't break a Boss pedal. I've been trying. And my pedal board itself is now like concave from me stepping on it. Like it actually is bent, but the Boss pedals just will not die. And that's pretty badass. So
I am a big Boss fanboy. I love Boss. So you're in good company here. Yeah.
That's good. And I feel like the thing is that I had this self-consciousness about it. Like, dude, I have a DS1 on my pedal board. Like I'm not even
absolutely
like that was a pedal that when I first heard it when I was 13, my buddy stole his dad's DS1. It was funny because his dad was like, don't touch my pedals. That was like his thing. Like, don't touch my amps. Don't touch my pedals. And we asked him why. And he was like, if you play it wrong, it'll like never sound the same again, which is like complete horseshit. But like, he just didn't want us using it. And he didn't know, like I know that you can't break a Boss pedal because like I'm positive now. I've just been trying. I sweat into them. I do, I treat them terribly. They never break.
He didn't want to try to have to reset. He had it right, and then to like find that sweet spot. That's probably what it was.
He knew that we'd hear feedback for the first time and be like, okay. And dude, once I heard the Boss pedal feedback, I've never been the same, dude. It's been 30 years of just me trying to feedback ever since.
It's true.
I can relate to that big time. Yeah, I love that. Don't touch my pedals; they won't sound the same. Like, wait, what?
My kid is always like, Dad, let me play with your pedals. I'm like, But I want him to, but I'm just like, don't mess my up.
Get him a duplicate board, get a backup and let him do his thing, man. Turn him into a noise freak young.
I should do that. It's a good idea.
What was your journey like with that stuff, Jeff?
Well, so it's kind of similar to Sean. When we came back, back in the day, I just used a Dan Electro Daddy-O overdrive pedal and a tuner, a Boss tuner. And that was it. That was that was all I had.
Into what amp, out of curiosity?
My last amp was a GK 400 RB3.
Okay. Yeah.
So not much, but it did what I needed it to do. And then Ampeg 410 and a 15. Then we came back, and I had a real job, so I could buy some stuff, and so I started doing the same thing Sean was doing. I was I'm on Reverb looking at stuff, and on YouTube looking at stuff, and I bought all these pedals. I was like, this is what I need, and having done the Wind Up Bird, which there were a lot of effects in the Wind Up Bird. I was like, I'm going to get all this stuff, and I'm going to make this crazy pedal board. And I actually had I forget the name of the place. I think it's Sound Design in LA.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I had him build me a board. It cost me a fortune. I got all the Strymon stuff. I got the Boss switcher. I got everything. And he made me this really nice board that I never used. I used it like a handful of times. I spent thousands of dollars buying the pedals and having him wire it and do all that. And then I never used it because I was like, I don't need this. I have plenty of pedals now, but I'm like running 3 independent stations on one board. So, I got that board and I was just like, and then maybe 9 months ago, I tore it apart and I sold everything. And I was like, I need money. So, so that board disappeared. It's sad, he did such a good job on it. And I'm like, man, it pains me to break this apart. But I was like, nobody's going to buy it because every board is, every board it's got its own purpose. So no one's going to be like, oh, that's exactly what I needed to do. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I haven't had an actual pedal board set up in probably 5 or 6 years because I can't. Well, A, I'm not playing out live, so that's helpful. But B, I have a different rig every time I play. Like I'll set things up on a table. I've got this like vertical pedal board back here now where I'll set things up, and like cool. I play the pedals as much as I'm playing guitar. Right. So I'm tweaking things and I'm like, whoa, like making all kinds of chaotic nonsense all the time into 2 or 3 amps and just it's just ridiculous. But I can't settle. Like every time I go, I want to like do one of those sessions. I'm like I go and I just go, okay, I want that pedal, that pedal, that pedal, that pedal, that pedal, and it's a completely different rig every time. So I don't even know how I would have a pedal board ever again. For like making the weird nonsense that I make. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's addicting, but it is quite fun.
It's fun. Yeah. I mean, Sean's he's been adding some stuff to his board lately.
Oh yeah. This week has been a big rebuild. I've been having crazy ideas. I had this idea in my sleep the other day. I woke up at like 5 a.m. and was like, I got to tear it all apart, man.
Yes.
And then, and that was yesterday morning because we had practice last night and I showed up with my new board to try my cool idea. Didn't work.
What was the idea?
I had this idea where I was going to use this looper that I haven't really been using and I was going to record like a really, really nasty feedback track into it. And I tuned my guitar like half of a half step up, Okay. So that basically when we have like pauses, we have these long intervals in certain songs that have feedback in them and they sound, and it makes you feel like you're going to throw up. It's crazy sounding. But when Jeff and I hit it perfectly and he's feeding back and it's like a little bit out of pitch with my feedback, then you definitely are going to throw up. So I was trying to emulate that by myself. You know what I mean? Just to like heighten the nausea. And I wasn't really able to hit it. I think what I need to do is actually like break it up into like basically right now we have a thing going where like I'm playing through 2 half stacks, but I'm not playing in stereo.
Okay, like a dual mono type of situation?
Yeah, and so they're dialed a little bit differently. And, part of it is just to have, another amp on Jeff's side of the stage so I can annoy him. But, yeah, so I think what I need to do is run in stereo and then like have that track maybe cranked on one side so that when I'm hitting these feedback parts... Anyway, we'll see what happens, Maybe one day we'll play in Portland and you'll be nauseated by you will be either way, I guess,
I don't think that's possible. I think if I can't nauseate myself with what I do, sound cannot penetrate this thick skull of mine in that way, I don't think.
Sean's trying to do his best Murs bow with a guitar.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I get that. Oh, I feel like, Sean, you and I need to make a record together and it'll be called Heighten the Nausea. Like
40
I
bucks.
think this could work. Yeah.
I like the idea. This sounds great. I love it. We are brought to you today by Sweetwater, specifically the Gear Exchange. You may have heard about this. This is a place where you can go to buy and sell your used gear. Maybe you got a pedal over there that's just kind of collecting dust. Maybe there's something you've been eyeing from the Sweetwater catalog. Well, right now is a great time to turn that unused gear into something you're actually going to use. Even better, if you sell on the Gear Exchange, you can keep 100% of the sale as long as you choose a Sweetwater gift card as your payout method. That is not too shabby because, let's be honest, most of this buying and selling we do is just to fund new gear purchases, and that is a great way to reach a wide variety of customers and keep 100% in your pocket, or rather on your pedal board. So go check out the Sweetwater Gear Exchange and turn that unused gear into something that's actually going to help you write that next huge riff.
Hello there. I'd like to introduce you to your new best friend, the Chase Bliss Audio Lossy. Lossy is a collaboration between Chase Bliss and Goodhertz. And it's meant to give you some control over those weird digital artifacts that come with very compressed audio. You're hearing it right now. All the changes that are taking place are strictly coming from my playing dynamics. I'm just interacting with the pedal and letting it do its thing. In some true stereo goodness. If you'd like some more details about Lossy, I invite you to head over to chaseblinssaudio.com. I think you're going to like what you find.
But as far as the stereo stuff goes, like now, full disclosure, this guy's a friend of mine, and I've done work for him over the years, and continue to do so. But I'm a big fan of Mr. Black here out of Portland, and his stereo delay in particular it's called the Tape X2, and it's like a tape emulating stereo delay, but it takes advantage of like the Haas effect. So when one repeat is going, I think it's like at 50%, that's when the other one's coming in. And so the stereo experience you get from this pedal is unlike anything that I've ever experienced. And it's usually the heart. I view it as like the centerpiece of my rig, because I'll run different things into it because it's stereo in and stereo out. Usually I'm running mono into it and using that as the stereo output most of the time. But what I like to do is like, then on that stereo output, I'll put different reverbs and modulations and sometimes dirt on each chain and send them to different amps. But what's great about it is you don't run into like phasing issues because of the way those delays are going up and down opposite of each other.
Yeah.
You don't have to look out for that stuff quite as much because it kind of takes care of it the way that it's modulating everything already. Jack, don't slap me if I said that incorrectly. That's my understanding of it. And I always have really good luck using that pedal as like the centerpiece. And yeah, I can cause, it's beautiful on its own though. If you just use it as a stereo tape delay, it's like, sounds so good. So ridiculous.
I'm sold, dude. I'll take 2. Okay. Sounds great.
Let's go. Woo!
Yeah. I gotta check that out. That sounds awesome.
You got to put 10 of them in a row.
Well, he makes enough other crazy stuff. You might want to try his other stereo things too, because like his phaser and his chorus pedal, and it's something else. Because he's a big, like, some things say that they're stereo, and they're not actually stereo. If that makes any sense. Sometimes it's dual mono. Sometimes it's it's a weird technicality in the language that some people are like, well, it is stereo. It's like, well, that's wet and dry. It's not exactly stereo, type of thing. There's all kinds of different ways to look at it, but he's big on like, no, this is two independent stereo paths, which is why sometimes he's like, if you want stereo, just buy two of the same pedal. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with all this. Oh, have you guys ever, this is a dangerous thing to talk about since we're getting into like all this noise stuff, but you guys ever dabbled with modular synths or anything like that? I feel like that's almost as addictive as pedals, if not more.
I haven't. I just stick to the basics with some pedals and like I'll play. What's fun for me is just playing around with Logic and the plugins and a microphone and just doing weird that way. But so if I'm doing that kind of thing, I'll just be doing it digitally.
Got it.
But it's been a while because JD and my family take all my time now. So
I've never really messed with synths. I grew up with a guy who is one of those people that's better at every instrument than I am. Just like an incredible musician and became a total metal shredder as soon as he started trying. I've always been a great drummer, but he went down the sort of wormhole of getting into rack mounted synths, and feel like at some point it got to this place where I would go to his house and he'd be like, dude, you got to check out this synth I got. And then he would just like hold down one key and just be like, dude, check that out, dude. And he'd be like, dude, I can do this for hours. Yes. It wouldn't be like he'd be adjusting anything. I think it would be more like he like got to the this like tonality that just sounded perfect to him. That was like what he'd been wanting to hear. And he's like, dude, I can sit in here all night and just like listen to it. Do this. I can just play an A and just listen to this. And I think I kind of understood, I was like, this is dangerous. I'm glad I haven't treated myself to this much musical positivity.
Maybe I need to actually get one of these because that is the way that I approach music too. I had back in the day when I was playing with the Wind Up Bird, we were using mostly analog stuff, and then we would run it through a computer. But Joe and I, he was living in a frat house for the summer. Because all the frat guys left, right? So they would rent out their rooms, and he was working for this program serving low income students in the community, middle school kids. And so he set up. We had like a Fender Twin, and he played through a Strat, Fender Strat, and we had a Fender Rhodes, and
nice.
And we, so I just ran that through like a Boss DD3 and an Ernie Ball volume pedal, and he was just playing his guitar, and we were just playing this one note for like, I don't know, an hour probably, and and I'm just swelling, and we're just riding on this one note. It was so beautiful, and then suddenly the sound just disappeared. And we're like, what? It's like 2:00 in the morning, and suddenly we hear, I told you not to make this music late at night. It was like the one frat dude that was there to make sure that everything didn't descend into chaos. He came down and he turned the electricity off on us. And we were just like, hey, dude,
come on.
But it was, but yeah, Sean, your story reminded me of that. It was like, man, I hated that guy. Like,
man, he killed the vibe immediately.
He totally killed it. And I was just like, one note for like an hour, or like
I told you not to play this music.
Creeping him out.
You didn't tell me which note not to play.
We're just shaking the house. I'm like on the low notes on the roads, and it was great.
I want a Rhodes so bad. I had one of those Yamaha CP. I forget the number. Like digital piano emulators, and it sounds really good. Like plug it in through my monitors. It really sounds great. But I want a real one.
You should get one.
Because there's one thing I don't have enough of, and that's stuff to make noise with. Yeah. Well, hey, we're getting close to the end of the podcast, and I got a couple classic questions to ask you guys. and there are two of you, so it'll take a bit longer than normal. So before I do that, I want to let you guys take the stage. You can shout out, anybody you want to shout out. You can plug anything you want to plug, say hi to your grandma, like whatever you want to do right now. The floor is yours.
I just want to say hi to Sean. I miss you.
Not accepted.
I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see. Well, he's mad that I kidnapped him and he locked him in my basement. No, I'm gonna see him, and who knows how long the traffic's gonna take today. Took almost 2 hours to get to practice yesterday, but no, I just want to say hi to my family because my kid likes to hear me talk about him. He's 7, so he's always like, Dad. And he's just like, so if he gets through this whole thing, then he's going to be like, yeah.
Yay.
So, but yeah, I don't have anything else real to plug. I don't know. I guess our record comes out tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
But yeah,
which is
the 5th.
The
May
5th.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this will not be out tomorrow, but it'll be out soon.
Nope. Yeah.
So the record came out on May 5th, and you should go check this out, dear listener. There you go.
Yeah.
What's
and
it
then we'll
called?
be on tour. The Gray in Between.
I already listened to the 2 tracks that are out on it. So
good.
Or how many?
Yeah.
Is it 3? Maybe it's 3 now.
3.
I can't. 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we'll be on tour all summer. So just come find us on the internet and find where we're playing near you. So
please come to Portland. Come to Portland.
Yeah. Later this year. All
right.
Sean, I don't know.
I want to say hi to Jeff's family too. And because that's important. And
it is.
Yeah. Check out the new Jeromes Dream record. New Loma Prieta record called Last is coming out at the end of June also. We'll be doing some touring. So,
this will probably be out before then. So what's the date? This will probably be out before then.
That record is coming out June 30th.
All right. June 30th. You heard it here first. Probably.
And we're starting a tour on June 30th as well. So check us out if you're in Oakland or on the East Coast, because those are the places we're playing for now. But
all right,
we'll go to the whole rest of the world too.
I'm gonna come. Sweet. I'm gonna come to the Oakland show.
Yeah, so come watch Jeff cameo, beatbox.
I'm gonna make you uncomfortable.
You're just gonna stare from the side stage, just look.
That's what I always do. I'm just like,
you better not screw this up, you worthless.
That make me look bad.
Yeah. Back in the basement.
Shut up and get back down there.
Yeah, practice.
Back in your crate.
Scales.
Yeah.
You're
not coming out till you run through all pentatonics. All right, final questions. Here we go. This one you touched on briefly, Sean, so this will be interesting. What is your favorite boss pedal?
Damn, Jeff, do you have a favorite boss pedal? Do you need a minute?
Not the TU2 or the TU3. I like the TU2 better. Yeah, I like the TU2 better because it's less sensitive, but it gets the job done. TU3 is my least favorite boss pedal because I'm just like, this thing is really not reading it. It's just like a little bit off, but I know it's in tune. So, sorry. I went my least favorite. TU2 is not my favorite, but
what is your favorite?
God, I don't know. Well, what's on my board? I like the NS2. Noise suppressor, because it's really, really integral to making sure that my vocals don't feedback in a way that makes everybody want to leave. So it's a pretty basic pedal, but it does what I need it to do.
That's crucial. Make people not leave pedal.
Yeah.
All right.
Sean, I can name my favorite of Sean's pedals. Is that blue
Go for
one.
it.
I don't know which one that is. You have to tell me.
Oh, really? I believe it's a PS5.
Yeah.
Pitch shifter.
Mm-hmm.
That might be mine too. I feel like it's the most in conjunction with other pedals I have on my board. It's doing things that, I mean, maybe I'm just sort of like, oh, that sounds like something I haven't heard people doing, so I keep doing it. But it might be that no one's doing it because it's obnoxious. I don't know. But yeah, the pitch shifters are cool, and
they are.
It's funny because like I had like a Digitech whammy also that I was messing with a bunch, and for some reason the Boss pedal, the way that it does freaky dive bomb stuff, I don't know, it just works for me. It's
got it,
and it's very maneuverable kind of in the way that it's pitch shifting. It can do all kinds of weird stuff. So maybe I'll go with that, or or my DS1. I love my Boss DS1.
I love the DS1.
Yeah.
It's not my main distortion, but I use it in spots just kind of for tone. And it's I also had someone do a mod to it that I think made it sound significantly better. And I don't know what that mod was called, but it does sound better.
The Sean mod.
It was the custom Sean mod, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. No, I love the DS1. I'm actually a proponent of the Metal Zone. I just made a clip with it and put it on Instagram yesterday. It's like,
dude, the Metal Zone can do some stuff. I think you gotta tweak it. You gotta get it just right,
Well, it's just the thing about it is the EQ on it is so good and so flexible. It's easy to make it sound bad.
Exactly.
Because it can do so much.
Right, exactly.
But it can sound really good too.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I kind of like when it sounds bad because that makes it more fun. Maybe not in a live setting, but just like playing with it, Like, oh,
yeah,
this.
True.
Yeah.
Is that what makes people leave too? Is when you tweak your Metal Zone too much?
It's been known to.
Yeah, I like it. All right, final question. And this one is the one that gets a little sensitive, a little bit controversial, but here we go. I think you guys are ready for it.
Okay.
What is your favorite kind of pizza?
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is a conversation I have a lot actually, because I grew up in Connecticut, and New Haven pizza is the best pizza in the country, hands down. Better than Chicago, better than New York, better than St. Louis, better than Detroit. New Haven pizza. But
now, which New Haven pizza are you talking about? Are you a Sally's guy? Or are you, what, like?
I am a Sally's
modern
guy, but
okay.
Modern is also fantastic, and Pepe's, of course. But I am a Sally's guy. But then there are just the little hole in the wall places. There was this place called York Street Pizza. I don't know if it still exists.
I've heard of it.
I haven't. Yeah, that I would get slices from almost every day, And it's funny because I didn't even really like pizza when I was like a kid, like young, and then when I started going down to New Haven, I was like, holy, this is actually really, really good, and then I just became a big pizza person. And we didn't used to, but now we have a ton of really good pizza here in San Francisco. Tony's is probably the most well-known of them, but and he's sort of, I give him credit for starting the Detroit sort of revolution. I'm assuming you guys have Detroit style pizza up there now. But I feel like Tony was the one that sort of made it go everywhere.
Took it outside of Detroit.
Took it outside of Detroit. Yeah. So, yeah.
I do like a Detroit slice.
New Haven style pizza. Sorry. What, you don't like Detroit?
No, I like Detroit, but I like New Haven style better. And that, New Haven, I'm such a pizza person that
me too. Let's hang out.
Like dream, please, let's do. I dream of going to New Haven and just going on a tour of all of the pizzerias, which some people think is weird, but I don't think it's weird at all. I have a Frank Pepe shirt that I wear all the time. And
I mean, the fact that you know the restaurants that everybody knows in New Haven means that
we have a New Haven style pizzeria here. I believe the guy's from New Haven, and it is incredible. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
dude.
He does his best to emulate the ovens. He's got like a 2-oven setup that he does. And it's
We were in Portland last May, and we went to this taqueria of all time. And if I had known that pizza, if the New Haven pizza was there, I would have been like, let's go there.
Yeah, it's called Dimo's a pizza. No, it's very good. Very, very good. It's one of my favorite spots. It's better to eat it there There are better,
Sure.
if you're going to get takeaway, there are probably better takeaway spots just because it gets a little bit limp by the time you're going to get it home, but you get it fresh there. It's impossible to beat. It's so, the flavor is absolutely insane.
Okay.
Love Demos so much. So,
All right. Well, I know where
next
we're
time.
going. Yeah.
They open at 4. So you know.
After sound check, we'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there at 3:45.
I'll meet you there. I'll have a table ready. We'll go.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Sean.
Oh, after hearing that, I don't feel qualified to even answer. I'm not from a pizza hub of the world like Jeff is, but I did bring up at practice the other day that because I honestly have no idea what Connecticut style pizza is. I just hear a lot about it in the last 5 years. I probably have had it because I live in the Bay Area and we're just, foodies by virtue of being alive out here. But I'm an unsophisticated guy. I mostly cook at home. So I learned that we are not playing in Connecticut on this tour, but we're driving through and, I'm making it my point to stop and have these guys take me to 4 or 5 pizza places in an afternoon. Trying to get, real full.
Yeah.
Well,
yep.
Maybe we'll go out of our way on the drive back to New York and or Philly. I think we're on our way to Philly, but maybe we can make a quick detour and get some pizza. That sounds like a good idea.
I think it's worth it. It's worth it for old time's sake.
You need to be you need to have context. If you're going to be in this band, I feel like you need to know. You have to have an opinion. I'm
not fully getting it until.
Yeah.
Well, Eric doesn't care about New Haven style pizza. It's
not at all.
I don't understand why. Yeah, but he does like Tony's Pizza and Detroit style pizza. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, this is great. This was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. Thank you both for hanging out for this time. And maybe we'll slide over to Patreon and see what other kind of nonsense we can create. Does that sound good?
Sure.
It's a plan. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. For Jeff and Sean, this is Blake. And as always, folks, good luck and good tones. There you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I would like to say I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, but I seriously doubt that is actually possible. But I hope you enjoyed it at least 95% as much as I did, because I super did. And if you want more, we talked more over on Patreon. So if you want to support the show, help keep the lights on and help keep everything going over here, please go over to patreon.com/tonemob, where for $5 a month, you're going to get extra treats. You're going to get extra episodes beamed to your ears every single week, and it helps out an immense amount. I know $5 is, doesn't seem like it goes that far these days, but I promise you it goes a long ways over here. I really appreciate all the help. I really appreciate everybody that's contributed over these years. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. Please share it with somebody you think would enjoy it. Please go check out Jerome's Dream, and please be good to each other. All right, that's enough for now. I'll talk to you on the internet very soon. Bye-bye. One last thing before we totally sign off here. I just want to remind you that if you do any shopping at Stringjoy, that's Stringjoy guitar strings made in Nashville, that will help me out as well. As I've said for years, I'm heavily involved in that company, and I really do think they're making the best products on the market. So if you would like to try custom strings, go to tonemob.com/stringjoy and check them out today. I seriously love what the team down there is doing. I help them out with all kinds of things, and by you supporting them, you are also supporting me as well. And hey, you need some strings, so why not get some custom strings just for your guitar and playing style? Again, the link for that is tonemob.com/stringjoy, and that will take you right to their website, and you can do all your shopping through there, and that will help everyone involved out. So thank you very much. Talk to you next time. We are brought to you by the wonderful folks at Gun Street Wiring Shop. Yes, Gun Street Wiring Shop. I've talked about them before. I used to say based out of Bend, Oregon, but guess what? Sean moved to my neck of the woods. Sean's in Portland. Sean is awesome and has helped me with a bunch of stuff lately. And if you have wiring needs for your guitar, he can help you too. If you want to get weird with it, he can get weird. If you just need to spruce things up a little bit, there's your guy.
He takes all the guesswork out of doing your guitar wiring, and he makes it simple, and his customer service is top-notch, and I can't say enough good things about Gunstreet as a company. I really respect Sean and what he's all about, and the product is top-notch. I've got 3 different guitars that now have Gunstreet harnesses in them, and I could not be happier. So go to gunstreetwiringshop.com and check them out.
Hey, this is Scott from Fly on the Call. Each week I speak to a different musician, whether they're in an established band like Silverstein or the Wonder Years, or a band on the rise like Spanish Love Songs, Origami Angel, or Meet Me at the Altar. We discuss music and lyrics, the successes and challenges of being in a band, and more, as we get to the core of each artist. The show features musicians of diverse genres and backgrounds, so there's always a chance I'll be talking to your new favorite band. Listen and subscribe at soundtalentmedia.com.
Hey there, I am Johnny Christ from Avenged Sevenfold, and I've got a podcast called Drinks with Johnny you're going to want to check out. I sit down with a bunch of different people from all different walks of life, from professional wrestlers to actors, comedians, fighters, musicians, everything in between. I'm just looking to make some friends and have a good time doing it. So if that sounds like something you're into, go check out Drinks with Johnny, streaming everywhere now.